Round 3. Our hand looks okay. Obviously, we need a third land to really get things going, but even if we don't hit a third land, we might hit a 1 or 2 mana creature to turn on our Copter. So, we have a lot of outs to actually turn on our hand. Ugh. In the meantime, we wait. If we do end up drawing a 1-drop, obviously we would prefer this swamp to be a mountain to turn on Fiery Temper, but we could draw Bowmat Courier. So it might be okay. Oh, and if we play against Flash, that'd be cool, because I want to try this matchup. Key is fine here, not great. It does turn on the Tempers, so we have a pretty good way to interact with Spell Quellers. Hoping for our opponent to not have a Copter. They showed me a Prairie Stream, so they probably drew that Plains. And our hand is still not doing anything. I'm going to play Copter under the assumption that we draw a third land and they don't have a Spell Queller. Alright, well, we kind of did it. If we get rebuffed, obviously that's not great, but I guess we need red mana for that. No rebuff. Tilt. Tilt, tilt, tilt. Why must I lose the die roll? Although, I guess if I were on the play, I would not have drawn that third land on time, so... Guess alternatively, I could have played Key and Tempered the Spirit or whatever, but if I have Pia, I have just the Thopter to brick wall the Spirit, so... So I want to do this upkeep before Avacyn comes out, and I don't mind if they Spell Queller this, otherwise I could have done it at the end of my turn. And obviously I would like to use the Key to draw a card, but I'm not sure I have that luxury. So Avacyn is to be expected, so maybe we should just keep Open Disintegration. And I guess if they don't have Avacyn, then we could just Bloodhaul Priest, so it's not the worst. Actually, now that we have 4th untapped land, does that change anything? I don't think it does. Yeah, kind of awkward. Guess I can't Bloodhaul Priest without making the Inspector unblockable anyway, so it doesn't really change anything. I guess Stasis Snare is kind of to be expected, right? We could try the crew of the Copter in their end step, but I'm not going to do that. Now I think I'm okay paying 2 for Key. Mostly punished. If my Copter gets snared, I'm happy. If they Avacyn, I'll just key my Copter. Yeah, so snare that, that's fine. I can just play another one, because I wasn't going to do really anything with my mana anyway. That's like kind of annoying, but not really. It's mostly annoying just because of the mana usage. So I don't think there's a great way for me to play 2 spells. I could Disintegration and Temper. So them not attacking doesn't necessarily mean anything, I guess. Like, could mean that they don't have Avacyn. Like, if they have Stasis Snare, they could snare my Priest, but then I can just crew the Copter and block Reflector Mage anyway. So it just means they don't have 2 snares, I guess. I think I want to pay for key. I will not be paying for key for the rest of this game, though. Now we have way too many things to do. But yeah, we gotta get this party started before they draw enough flyers to kill us. Like, we have all these removal spells, but there are gonna be turns where maybe they have, like, 2 spell quellers or something. So they play a flyer, I get to kill it, they spell queller it. You know, stuff like that. So. Alright. This could mean that they have another rebuff. Or it could mean that they just think that my 1 Bloodhall Priest was gone, so now they're safe to attack. Maybe they're just flooding out and getting desperate. I'm just going to block with Priest instead of trying to crew Copter, because if I do that and they have a snare, then it's bad times. Okay, so now they have Avacyn. That is completely fine with me, because we can just disintegrate that. If I draw a land, I'm going to have a great turn. That's not bad. That's about the same thing as a land. I think I'm just going to clear the board up a little bit. Don't want to get nickel and dimed out. I think it was right to attack with Copter instead of Priest just to filter the extra card. Try and make my land drops and whatnot. I also think it was very important to do that stuff on my turn so I don't get blown up by counterspells or another Avacyn. So here, I like keeping the Copter on D. And then we should be able to make a push to kill our opponent next turn. Now we can actually key our own creature, which is great. Bloodhall Priest, I will pay. You got me. Alright, so are we paying for the key? I don't think so. I think we got too many good things to do here. Guess we could have played Pia, Crude Copter, and then had Lethal. Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, this way we get to play their flash game, I guess. Probably should have killed them, though. Alright. So Key was quite good there, although this card I generally don't like in this matchup. Transgress is fine. Weaver got much worse against them, because they started cutting rattle chains and stuff. So they actually don't have that many 1 toughness targets, even though Weaver does block pretty well. See, I like Key just as a madness outlet. It's not so much about getting through unblocked or anything, although that can certainly help. So, I don't want a bunch of stuff that's weak against rebuff. But I really don't want to sideboard that much to begin with. Could see bringing in the bombardments. Just like the first one has to hit a Selfless Spirit. So there are a lot of issues there. Do want some transgresses, but maybe not the full amount because I don't want to draw too many. And yeah, I want all the removal to stop them from gaining traction. Definitely want to maintain like a reasonably high threat density. It's definitely nice to have Key for the Madness outlet, and then you have things like Disintegration and Bloodhall Priest, and you can actually just play at instant speed with them. But yeah, sometimes Key is a little bit too slow. This hand's great. Gonna lead on 1-2, which is a little awkward because it deters them from attacking, which means that I can't attack with my Bomat Courier, but I can't really play Bomat Courier pass because it kind of does the same thing where they're probably not going to attack me, so. This turn I'm just going to use my 2 mana. Get in there with the Apprentice. The next turn I can play Transgress and Bomat. And then I'll basically just keep open, like, Key Disintegration for the rest of the game. Like, if they don't do anything, I can probably just filter with Key, and if they do something, I can react. It's kind of worth noting that I could Key here just to cycle a card, but it costs me 2 mana, and I think I'm going to spend my mana next turn. Also, I think my hand is reasonable. Like, there's no real reason to cycle any of the cards that I have right now. I mean, if it were free, I would definitely do it, but I would always loot. Okay, well, they fragged my 1 key. I think that's okay. My Bomat Courier is once again very sad. So they have 2 stones and a plains. Alright. Well, I can still hit him for 2. Possible I should not have played the Bomat Courier because then they're incentivized to keep an Inspector back. But if I didn't play Courier, I couldn't attack for 2, so then they couldn't attack with their Inspectors. I could have, like, you know, chump checked them attacking with the Apprentice. They probably would have blocked, but then they probably would have attacked too. How the hell do I get my 1/1s to their 1/2s? I think I need my key. Is there any reason to play the second Bomat? Like, could I get the apprentice in combat and then they what? To my Bomat. To make my thing a 1-2 and they could double block? I don't know what there is. And if they stone my 2 couriers, that is cool with me. I would happily just cycle my Bomat couriers. Bomat courier against 3-man Inspector. Not a good matchup. Hell yeah. Ship those clues. We're about to go off. I don't think I want to play that pre-combat because of Spell Queller. Well, I guess that worked out. Not super well, mind you, but it did work out. Worth noting that if I sack this clue, I'm losing out on the 3 points from the disintegration. Possibly a point from the apprentice. I'm just going to play this. I'm not going to run disintegration into the Spell Queller just yet. I do want to make sure I get through this combat when they're kind of repping Avacyn. So if they just attack with Spell Queller, I'll let that go. If they stone my Pia and attack with 3-man Inspectors, then I'm going to try and disintegrate the Queller. And no matter what happens this turn, I am going to use the disintegration because I kind of want to turn on the Bloodhall Priest for next turn. Just try and clear an Inspector if possible. Stone my apprentice, eh? Kind of an awkward spot where I don't really want to disintegrate the Queller. Because I get very minimal value from it. Alright, well now I'm more okay with it. So I'm just going to hold disintegration open, I guess. Yeah, if they block, that would be very bad for me. Because I would not want to necessarily invest the mana to do that, especially if they could have something like Stasis Snare. And it's possible I'm playing too passive. Maybe I should have just played a priest that turn. If they have another Spell Queller, this is good for me. If they have an Avacyn, obviously it's bad. Not bad. I mean, I still get the disintegration, the Avacyn, and everything, but... Very odd stone target. I guess my opponent's at 6, though. So maybe they have to. Everything about this kind of just points to my opponent being very weak. Like their hand being weak. So I'm going to try and just pounce here. That's sort of a tilt. And they are just going to snare my Pia instead of my Thopter, so they still take 3. Down to 2. Play out the scrap heap. Well, we could just cast that. I don't really see any reason to do that, though. So, they played Avacyn. They still take 3 from the Disintegration. Now I'm in a spot where I could play Priest, and then if I get Fumigated, the game gets kind of awkward, so I think I just pass. Maybe I should have tried to kill him, but if I Disintegrate and then they play Spell Queller, it's really bad for me. So, winner.